What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris, man, here at the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It is Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. Yes, it is that day, y'all. Y'all got to get out here, go to these polls, and vote. Every vote matters, all right? This is election day. I've already been out to the polls this morning and voted, so you definitely got to get out there and vote yourself, okay? But nonetheless, this is my Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. I am a freelance sports reporter based out of Minnesota here, and I'm also in sales and proprietor of this podcast where I bring individuals on to talk about their why and get to know them outside of their occupation. I got a special guest that's coming on with me today. Her name is Erin Mulligan. She is a Monmouth University alum graduate. She is also a podcaster. She has the Dissection with Erin Mulligan, where she talks about different sports stories. She's also a YouTuber, somebody that's in sports and in podcasting. So I wanted to bring her on my podcast to talk about her why of doing so. So without any further ado, I introduce you the wonderful, talented, and beautiful Erin Mulligan. Good morning.
Morning.
How
How
you
are
doing?
Good. Good.
That is awesome to hear. I have to start off by saying you look absolutely lovely today. Just wanted
Oh,
to say
thank you.
you're very welcome, very welcome. And also a special thank you for coming on to my podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder. I really do appreciate that. How's your week going so far?
Good. It's strangely warm outside in New Jersey. So it's kind of nice because it was freezing over the weekend. So it's weird, but welcomed.
Oh, absolutely. I would take the warm over any type of cold. I'm in Minnesota here, so we're in about 40 to 45-degree weather, which is very warm up here to Minnesotans, for sure.
Mm.
As cold as it can get up here. So yeah, I'll take that all day long. Um, I want to reiterate to you, Aaron, before I get started, kind of pepper you with all the questions of why I wanted to have you on. I know that you do your podcast on YouTube as well, or you post it on YouTube, the Dissection with Erin Mulligan. I would love to hear about that. I love to hear about some of the stuff that you come up with on your shows, how it got founded, the idea behind it. That would be amazing. I saw a couple of your shorts that had me dying, especially the one where it said "trying to be nice." I thought that was pretty cool. I thought the
Yeah.
other one that had me laughing was the one about the question that was posed. What do men do after football season is over? I thought that was pretty cool. And
Thank
you
you.
know what? For me, for this man, I just dive right into basketball season because I'm a huge basketball person. But I totally understand people that don't watch basketball as much as I do. I watch every sport except cricket because I don't know what the hell cricket is.
I
But
don't either.
right? So everybody else though is not a huge basketball person. Yeah, they're going through withdrawals because by that time, February, which is my birthday month,
Ah,
football's over. So yeah, I totally understand that.
thank you. I know. It's like a weird period of time.
It
But
is. Are you from New Jersey?
yes.
Okay, so from the New Jersey area. Got you. I love that. So I start off my podcast with the same question as always, Aaron, and that is, what is your why? Did you have any role models or inspirations growing up? Did this fall into your lap about sports and podcasting, or did you always know you wanted to do this? But what is your why of wanting to be involved in sports and also podcasting as well?
When I was little, I remember like when I was probably 3 years old, just watching
Mhm.
TV, and I obviously didn't understand like the world yet, but I knew I wanted to like be on TV. And
Sure.
because I saw it as something really huge. And I just always like when I was little, I was really, really shy, painfully shy. It was like a problem. And
Wow.
I
Okay.
know, and so I always had these really big dreams and I just wanted to be on TV so bad, but I was so shy. So as I got a little older, I mean, I remember when I was 4, my dad asked me if I wanted to sit on the couch with him and watch football. And then my whole life changed. And I loved it. I didn't know what I was watching. I saw aggressiveness, I saw competition, and I loved it for some reason. And then as I got older, I found that writing and reading came really easy to me in school. I hated school up until college. I hated it. But I enjoyed English. And
Sure, sure.
yeah, and so I think when I was 6, I realized what Erin Andrews' job was. And she came on the TV, and I was like, I want to do that because I can't be an NFL player. So maybe I could do that. And
Mm.
so I always thought about it when I was little. Always thought about it. I loved storytelling and I loved sports. And then when I was in 6th grade, my teacher asked me to not stop writing journalism because it was a chapter in our class. And she was like, Erin, this was really, I wrote about the Giants winning the Super Bowl. And I remember I formatted it so it looked like a real news article. And it was a big deal for the teacher to put your work up on the projector. And she did. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then she really came and she knelt down next to me and she said, please don't stop. And I was like, all right. And I didn't think it was a big deal then, but I'm really thankful to her now because I just kept taking journalism classes. And then somewhere along the lines in high school, I got a little blurred vision because I was obsessed with One Direction and Taylor Swift. And I was like, oh, maybe I could go work for them. It was so,
Now, who wouldn't be obsessed with them in high school, right? I totally understand that. Go ahead.
thank you, thank you. I was just like a normal teenage girl. And
Right.
I loved music always. So I was like, oh, maybe I could work in music business. And I started veering away from sports, even though it was still my whole life and, what I loved. But so I started thinking maybe I'll do entertainment writing and somehow be on, Entertainment Tonight or something. I always wanted to be on TV or writing. So I went to college thinking I was going to do that.
Mm.
And then ended up, going back to sports. But I would definitely say, both of my parents were always my role models. My dad got me into sports and football specifically. And my mom just was always encouraging me and she was like, very good at writing. I was like, thanks. And she just always would say that. So them, and then in terms of reporters and everything, it was always Erin Andrews. I think because we had the same first name when I was little, I was like, whoa, that was cool to see my name up on TV.
Sure,
And then
sure.
yeah, I mean, I always admire so many different reporters and everything as I grew up and realized what type of storyteller and reporter I wanted to be. So I would like pick and choose. I would study Hoda Kotb on the Today Show, and I would
Oh
study
yeah.
Erin Andrews. And then, so in terms of television, I would study those two, kind of like watching film, like an athlete would watch film. And then I love Brian Hoke, who's a beat reporter for the Yankees. I like how he kind of puts creative writing into his pieces and his personality. So I always kind of clung to those three. And just, yeah, I always was watching ESPN and everything. And yeah, but probably it started with my parents.
Absolutely. Shout out to Mr. and Mrs. Mulligan. That's
Yeah.
amazing. No doubt. That awesome. And listen, the camera definitely loves you. I can honestly
Thank
tell you
you.
that. You're very welcome. And I can't believe shy. You don't even seem shy at all. I mean, that was a great first answer to the many questions that's coming. I love that. That's awesome. It really is. You always want to have those kind of mentors that you look after. I know for me, I love Stephen A. Smith.
Mhm.
Somebody who definitely I looked after because he was kind of a triple threat. Sarah Spain was another one. Be having Chicago roots and my parents being from Chicago, she was another one who I looked at as being a triple threat because that's what I always wanted to be. Somebody that could write, somebody that can do podcasts on the radio, and then somebody that can also be in television. So I wanted to
Yeah.
kind of do that triple threat thing, and I'm believe I'm on my way doing that. So that's pretty.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, indeed. You went to Monmouth University, which is in New Jersey. I want to know were there any other schools that could have persuaded you to go to there? You know, you got Rutgers, Piscataway, you got New York schools in St. John's, Columbia up the road. You know, not too far from you. So, what were there any other schools that could have persuaded you?
Because I was in that sort of stupid mindset when I was a senior, I only applied to Monmouth because I kept thinking, oh no, I'm going to do music. I'm going to do music business. And
Mhm.
I was actually really upset that I was doing that to myself because I felt like I was choosing. I had to choose between two, I guess, industries. And I just went for music business and I applied to the music industry program at Monmouth. And looking back, probably would have applied other places. I think in my mind, I my dream school was Fordham. And
Okay,
they have an outstanding media and
they
radio
do.
TV, program and everything. I I never really went towards Rutgers. But yeah, I mean, Monmouth was the only place I applied to because of the music industry, but it ended up working out really well. Like I remember I went to orientation and I had a sleepover. My
Oh
roommate
wow.
left because she had friends from high school who were going there too. So she left me and I was alone in the room and I called my mom. I was like, I think I chose the wrong major. And she was like, I knew you were going to say that, but it's okay. Because my mom always thought I was going to go back to sports. And so I just sat because my orientation leader was doing sports broadcasting. And I was like, oh no, I should probably switch. But I ended up going undecided and I was sitting in a music class, hiding my phone behind my laptop watching the Yankee game. And I said, probably
That's how
should,
you know.
yeah, I should probably switch. I love music. There's nothing wrong with, loving music, but it's not for me to pursue a career in necessarily. So,
Sure.
but Monmouth was outstanding. I mean, when I went and visited and saw the radio station and the TV studio and the newspaper office, it was wild. It was so like top of the line. And they even improved while I was still there. And they allow their students to be hands-on as freshmen, which some schools don't do. And I was
Right.
so appreciative of that still today. So at the time, definitely not. I could not have been swayed because I thought I'm gonna go work for Taylor Swift. But I'm really glad that it all worked out.
I'm happy too. And one thing I have learned, Aaron, is that, even though that sometimes we may don't get to visit as many schools as possible, sometimes it's financial situations that, don't allow us to go to the schools that we want to go to. But one of the things that I realize is that number one, it's about the experience that you make at the schools that you go to. It's not so much of the schools of the big time schools. So we know Syracuse, the Northwesterns, the Indianas, Arizona States, maybe Missouris. Those are schools that predominantly have great journalism programs. Like you
Yeah.
also support them as well. They're known throughout the entire country. But I went to Kennesaw State University, which people's like, what? Like, yeah, it's a school out in Atlanta, Georgia, that I went to that, my family is still over there in Atlanta. And I had the time of my life there. And I'm sure you had the time of your life at Monmouth. So, and you're going to be doing great things moving forward. So there's no question about that. So I've learned that people put a lot of emphasis on where you go, and they shouldn't in this industry. It's about what you can do after you get out, and that's for sure. I got a bonus question for you before I get to the favorite questions, and that is, have you been to any of the Taylor Swift concerts?
Yes, of course. I
Okay.
my first Taylor concert was in 2014 or 2015
Yeah.
because when she was younger, my mom thought I was too young to go. So I didn't go to the first few tours. So I went to 1999 and we
Yep. Me
sat
too.
in the oh good. Yes. So we sat in the second to last row in the whole entire stadium in Giant Stadium. My sister had to go to the medical tent because she was getting all lightheaded and she was like, "Oh my gosh, it's too high." And it was funny and it's funny to think about now. But so I went to that and it was just unbelievable. And then we went to Reputation. My dad surprised us with floor tickets. So like we didn't know until we got there. Like they
Oh my.
directing us where to go, and my mom kept looking over at us just to see if we were picking up on it. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then we met her mom there because we were up against the barricade between like where the celebrities were walking out from backstage, and all these celebrities were coming through, and then people started screaming, and her Taylor's mom came out. And I literally took my sister and I just threw her over the barricade, and then I jumped over it. One of my friends jumped over it, and we got a selfie with her because my sister looks like Taylor. She has blue eyes, blonde hair, and has the same birthday as her. So it was always
Wow.
a joke when she was growing up and everything. So she wanted to tell her. Um, and then yeah, that was the last tour I went to. I just like I like Taylor, and I think she's the greatest songwriter of all time. But as I've gotten older, it's like a little too much now. I'm not so focused on her personal life and all the
Sure.
merchandise and everything. Like, just
Those tickets are crazy now. I mean, back
yeah,
then they were probably crazy, but they even crazier now as far as the prices go. So,
yeah.
um, I totally understand that. Wow, you were willing to risk it all for Taylor. I love that. I mean, throwing her over the balcony and getting herself. I mean, those are once in a lifetime opportunities, though. Once again, shout out to Mr. Mulligan. Floor seats. That is amazing. I mean, man.
No,
But
we were stumped.
but listen, I'm sure, and you got to take advantage because you don't know how many times you're going to be on the floor at a Taylor Swift concert. So,
Yeah.
gratefully, the security didn't do anything to y'all. It
We
allowed
were good.
y'all to take the pictures and stuff like that. So, I'm happy to hear that. That's for sure.
Yes.
Um, I wanted to ask this question too. How crushed were you to hear about the Liam news in One Direction? That was pretty shocking to hear. I'm not the hugest like Swifty or One Direction fan, but I am woke. I'm definitely woke to the news, and I definitely know what's going on. That was a shocking blow to hear that. How shocked were you?
I I felt like for me One Direction was not a phase and I never grew out of it and I continue to go see them on their solo tours and everything and as I've gotten older I'm like, yeah, I was a like nut job teenage girl, but I also really genuinely did love their music and I really think that they are talented and great songwriters. So as I've gotten older, I still continue to think that. So and it's funny because my whole family, like my grandma and everybody, calls them by their first names as if we know them because I've just like been so overly obsessed with them for since I was 11. So
Right,
when it broke, actually my cousin texted in our like cousin group chat and he was like, Liam died. And I was like, what do you mean? And
right,
my sister started crying and I just like sat there
right,
because I didn't know it was like a family member almost died. And I know that sounds nuts because I've never met him and he's a
right,
celebrity, like, but I feel like I've grown up with them and they've grown up, it's just been such a long time. And so it was really, really sad. And especially the way that he died. It was really devastating. And the fact that there's still an ongoing investigation over it is just
right,
so sad because, and again, I don't know him personally, but he always seemed so kind, so into music. I mean, he wrote a lot of One Direction songs. And so it's just so sad. I mean, he basically started every song, So I haven't really listened to a lot of One Direction since because it's weird to hear his voice
I'm
almost.
on that same tip. I am.
Yeah.
I really am. I don't know if I can listen to any more like the One Direction stuff that they did. It definitely was saddening to hear that. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan, but I do know of their music.
Yeah.
And very talented, no question about it. But I thought to get your thoughts on that because I know you said Taylor Swift and One Direction. Those two musician groups and people are some of your biggest fans, or some of your biggest people that you listen to, I should say. But I want to
Yeah.
ask you some favorite questions, Erin, and you
Okay.
just give me the 411 off the rip based upon these favorite questions. Are you with me?
I'm with you.
Okay, here we go. Favorite meal you like to cook?
Ooh, to cook. So I'm not the greatest cook, but I'd say I make pasta a lot. I'm one of those annoying people with allergies, so I have to have this like dairy-free, egg-free pasta. But it's good. So I'll make that with clean ingredient Alfredo sauce, and then maybe like grilled chicken on the side with asparagus that I love to put garlic olive oil over, and then just some salt. It's really good. So
Okay.
probably rely on that meal the most, and it's good. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You have already convinced me. No need to convince me anymore. No question. If I'm ever in New Jersey, I gotta come see Erin. That's for sure.
Sure.
That's for
Yeah.
sure. That's awesome. Um, Favorite concert you've ever listened to?
That's hard because I've been to One Direction, I've been to Taylor Swift. Um, I'd say both of those because for different oh, you know what? Bruno Mars was outstanding.
Yes, he is.
Outstanding. It was a full-on show. Uh, Bruno Mars, One Direction. I know you want one answer. But Taylor, those three probably. Oh no, wait. Carrie Underwood was really good too. I went to go
Okay.
see her, but Bon Jovi was my first.
Bon Jovi. Wow, that's a little different from the artist you just named. It's a little different
Yeah.
genre. I like that though. I like that you have differentiated music tastes like that because I also have that. Like one of my favorite concerts was definitely Kanye Jay-Z.
Okay.
Watch the Throne tour. But probably my first concert that I thought was like, I don't know if I like this one or not, but I actually did was Florida Georgia Line.
Really?
Hmm.
Hey.
I was singing all day songs, and I was in the crowd. I was doing my thing, and I had a cold beverage, and it wasn't soda. So I understand that. So it was pretty good. It was a pretty good time. Pretty good time for sure.
Yeah, I bet they
Okay.
put a good show on.
They do. One of the concerts that was surprising that I did security for. I used to do event security. Was Eric Church.
Oh,
His
okay.
concert was definitely different. I mean, he would bring a bottle of whiskey on stage. He does that at every single show, and he goes past the time frame he's supposed to. And he says he'll pay the fine, and he rocks out. These people did; they just go crazy for his concert. His concert was booming. Yeah, no doubt.
Wow. See, that's how Bon Jovi's was. I mean, I was 9 when I went, and I
Wow, 9 years old.
I know. I don't know why, but my parents were like, "Let's just go," and bring Erin. And both my parents are big '80s rock fans. So,
Oh.
um, like when I was little, I was always playing AC/DC, Kiss, Journey, Bon Jovi. Um,
Mm.
and so we went, and he went, I think, over 3 hours because he was in New Jersey. And so he did like extra encores, he took requests. So that was really, I like when artists do that.
Me too. I mean, Philadelphia is right up the road. I believe that's where he's from. He's a native of Philadelphia, if I'm not mistaken. I might be.
Bon Jovi?
Yeah, yeah.
He's from Sayreville, New Jersey.
Is he from New Jersey?
Yes, he's got a
I,
rest stop named after him.
that's why he went over 3 hours. He's home. He at the crib. Okay, I got you. I got you. Okay, no, no. I appreciate that. Thank you for that 411.
Of course.
Favorite place you've ever traveled to?
Oh God, I have not been out of the country. I've barely been off the East Coast. Um,
Wow.
I know.
Mm. And we're gonna have to change that. We're gonna have to change that a little bit. I mean, Jersey is great. Don't get me wrong, but there is a lot more to see out there. It's a little
There
lot more
is.
to see.
I know. And
Yeah.
I'm like one of those typical people from New Jersey who's like, there's no need to leave. And some of my favorite places are in New Jersey, Lake Mohawk, Cape May.
Hmm.
Um, but I've been to Myrtle Beach
Okay, South Carolina. Yep.
and I've been to Disney World. And I did go to
That's in
California.
Florida, and that's my home state. My home state is
Ah,
California. So,
okay, yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So obviously, I recently just went on a cruise. And it was my first cruise I ever went on. And I would have told you my favorite place was Cabo San Lucas before the
Okay.
cruise. But now after the cruise, my favorite place is definitely the Cayman Islands. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, got a chance to go with family. My dad set it up. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
And we went to Jamaica, we went to Mexico, we went to the Cayman Islands and the Bahamas on a 7 day cruise. And it was dope. If you ever get a chance to go with your family, I think
Mhm.
you guys would enjoy something. I don't know if you guys would like to be on boats for and water for 7 days, but if that's your thing, definitely do it for sure.
We're not big cruise people, but we would fly to those places, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
definitely, because the sightseeing is amazing, especially in Jamaica. Jamaica, the sightseeing was really cool. I love that. Yes, no doubt. Two more of the favorites.
Okay.
Favorite uh sport you like to watch on TV, and favorite sport you like to attend in person. They could be the same sport.
Okay. Definitely football on TV.
Okay.
Um, I think I might go with baseball in person.
Mm,
I think so. It's just a little calmer, if that makes sense, in person.
sure.
And
Mhm.
it's just a great atmosphere, especially at Yankee Stadium. I mean, those are one of the best hot dogs I've ever had. And it's just, I don't
Mhm.
know, everybody's just so excited to be there. Everyone loves the Yankees. And uh, yeah, I'll go with football on TV and baseball in person.
So I personally love basketball and football. Those are my two. Basketball definitely in person. Football definitely on TV because football everybody looks so small when you go there to the stadium, and unless you have the very good seats, they're gonna look like small people on the field. But basketball is just a different atmosphere. It's like four times as many people because they only fit about anywhere from maybe 15,000 to maybe 20,000 max in arenas. And then that's if you selling out. And basketball, I just always loved. That's my first love, first sport. And I played that all through high school and different things of that nature. But I gotta ask you this as a New Jersey, New Yorker person. And I normally do with everybody that I have on here from those areas. Do you like street meat?
No.
Why you say it like that?
Particularly, not really.
You said no. Like, have you tried it? I mean, because let me tell you, people advocate for street meat all the time. That's
I'll be
from there.
honest, I haven't tried it. I'm just, but I should. I'll put it on like list of things to do.
Okay. See,
Yeah,
well, Erin, well, come on now. How can you say you don't like it if you never tried it?
I know. And I'm not a picky eater either, so
Right.
yeah, I'll try it.
Okay. So before I get to this last favorite question, I always tell the story to everybody who's from that area. The first time I ever came to New York City, it was on the mega bus.
Okay.
And I got dropped off in New York City. It was 34th and 11th and 12th. And first off, I was like, why do they have all these damn numbers? Because I don't understand all these numbers of these streets. I don't get it. I'm used to street names, but it was
Yeah.
34th and 11th and 12th. I'm walking down the street and there's a guy that says, "Hey, my man, do you want some street meat?" I never heard of this term in my life. Never heard of street meat in my life, and I thought he was trying to do something like out of pocket and inappropriate.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, sir. I don't want any of your street meat. I'm good. I'll keep walking. He's like, no, 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 my man. It's good food. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. I was like, sir, I don't know what street or what meat you talking about, but I don't want none. I'm good. Uh, but if you got a Gatorade or a Sprite up in there, because he looked like he had different drinks up in his little cart, I was like, I'll take
Okay.
one of those. So I took one of those. I still haven't tried the street meat. I've been to New York about three times. And I got to New York City because I caught the wrong bus on Megabus, and I ended up in New Jersey. I ended up
Oh,
in Secaucus, New Jersey. Secaucus. I was like, oh my gosh, where I don't know where I'm at. The McDonald's was closed. It's late at night. I'm like, I'm hungry. Uh, It was a bad experience. My first ever time being in New Jersey, New York, Aaron. But since
that's
then, it's
so
been pretty good.
funny that you say that because one of the radio broadcasters for the Notre Dame game last week,
Mhm.
he
Mhm.
was going on and on about how he hated being in Sea Caucus and like he had a horrible experience. The hotel he was in wouldn't let him watch the World Series and everything. So I tweeted him, I'm like, I'm really sorry. It's actually a really nice place. I I'm sorry you had a really bad experience. And he just like sent me back laughing emojis. It was so funny.
That's funny. I love that. I love you. Rep your town, rep your city, girl. Do that. I mean, no doubt, do that. I love that. So would you ever root for the Mets?
I feel like either answer I give, people will rip me apart. So I'm going to be honest. Yeah. If
Okay,
not if it ended up being a Subway Series, World Series, but
sure.
I want to see them do well. So I grew up in a divided household. My mom is Mets, Jets, Islanders. My dad is Giants, Yankees, Rangers. And So like, my grandpa, when I was little, he was always trying to make me a Mets fan. He got me a Mr. Met book and everything. And I just became a Yankee fan. But I always respected the Mets because of him, and
Okay.
wanted to see them do well. So yeah, I'll root for them. Yeah.
Listen, we're gonna have some more this or that questions. I'm gonna ask you some more of those New York titles, so don't give me your
Okay.
team just yet. But we're
Okay.
gonna add more of that. Okay. This last favorite is favorite restaurant you like to eat at, and I'm gonna be honest. I've been to Newark, New Jersey.
Hmm.
They have some really good spots.
They do.
They have some good spots to eat. I've been to Newark, New Jersey, no question. New York Sugar Shack. I don't care what anybody says. The New York Sugar Shack is overrated.
I've never been
Yeah, it's
because
overrated.
I don't know if
It
I desire it, you know.
is. Okay, so what
Definitely.
would be your restaurants?
Um, Off the top of my head, it's probably, oh, let's see. In Lake Mohawk, well, I guess it's in Sparta, New Jersey. It's the Mohawk
Okay.
House, and they have the best steak, and like everything is good. Everything, the mashed potatoes,
Mm.
everything. They have Pat LaFrida meat, so if you ever see that around New Jersey, New York, you can go and have a nice piece of meat at wherever, whatever restaurant. So Mohawk House in Sparta, New Jersey, the Mad Batter in Cape May.
Okay, now. All right. And the Mad Batter, that sounds like a breakfast spot.
I think it has everything because they
Okay.
close for a period of time during the day to get ready for like lunch and dinner. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, people love having breakfast there. And so yeah, and then I always love the Brass Monkey in the city.
The
Um,
what?
it's called the Brass Monkey. It's an
What the?
Irish pub,
Okay. Okay.
and it's delish. The burgers are so unbelievable. They have a bacon mac and cheese. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Um,
Are you one of those that eat pineapple on pizza?
no.
Okay. Are you one of those that like eats like donut burgers? Like, you know, how they have the donuts on top of the burger. Are you one of those?
No, I struggle to mix sweet and savory. I don't know
Me
why.
too.
Like
Me
I'll
too.
pretty much only accept apples in a salad and maybe cranberries, but like I don't like strawberries in a salad. I don't know why it
Mm,
bothers me. I just can't combine the two.
no. I'm with you on that. Okay. So listen, right now we vibing. We are very good friends right now, Aaron. You and
Okay,
I.
good.
We are very good friends. We are vibing here on the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. I want to ask you about your podcast and what you do on a day-to-day basis. I want to know how was that founded? How did you come up about that? Of doing different like episodes and different videos of that, but I also want to know what you do on a day-to-day basis. As far as maybe sports or reporting or anything like that.
Yeah, so the whole like dissection, I guess, brand started when I was in college because I was still on that music train, and I kept telling my dad, I was like, I think I would just be so good working for someone like Billboard magazine or something, giving my opinions on songs and everything. And he was like, so why don't you just create something yourself? Just do a website or a podcast or something. I was like,
Absolutely.
okay. So I did. But because it was my own thing, I could do whatever I want. So it started out as music and sports. And so I was kind of dissecting the lyrics to different songs, and then I was looking at like big stories in sports and everything. And so that's how that started. And I just tried to grow it and everything. And I remember my first interview with an athlete was also, it was at Monmouth, and I was at a football game, and it was a wild experience. I was with my roommates and we were in the stands, and one of the players had made it onto the practice squad for the Giants, and it was a big deal because Monmouth is a D1 school, but it's smaller. And so it's exciting when one of the guys, makes it pro and everything. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah, so he was there. And so I texted my dad. I was like, oh my gosh, he's here. So great because we had followed his career throughout his time at Monmouth. So uh,
Mhm.
or whatever. So I texted him. My dad called me like 2 seconds after I texted him. And I was shocked because he was still at work. And I was like, why are you on your phone? And he was like, you gotta go down there and interview him. And I was like, no, I don't want to. I was scared. I was intimidated. And I also didn't want to make a fool of myself in front of any classmates that were there. And so
Sure.
he was like, no, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. And when my dad's passionate about something, he yells. He wasn't yelling at me. He was just very loud in the phone.
Right.
And I was like,
Right.
all right. And he was like, all right, call me back after you do it. And he hung up. And I was like, oh God. And I can't let my dad down. I physically can't do it. So I was like, okay. So I noticed that he was leaving the sideline. He was like walking down towards the locker room. And I was like, oh, maybe he's gonna go in with them. But then oh no, I thought he was leaving, going out where the opposing team goes out. But then he just
Hmm.
kept walking. I was like, I gotta go catch him. So I literally sprinted down the bleachers and then through like the main concourse as you enter. And there's these huge gates at Monmouth
Hmm. Yeah.
that open up as doors basically. And I was running and I saw the security person. I was like, open the gate, open the gate. And then they just opened it. I was like, thank you. And then I kept walking. It was all barricaded. You need credentials to get through. And I was
Yeah.
like, can I get through? And this guy just wasn't really paying much attention to me, so I just squeezed through the barricade myself and went through and I just shouted at him. His name was Reggie White Jr., but he's not related to that Reggie White uh
Right.
in Packers. And I was like, Reggie! And then he looked over and I think he thought maybe we knew each other. He wasn't sure who was calling his name.
Calling his name. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just froze and I like waved really quick. And then I just shouted, can I interview you? And he was like, yeah, sure. And he was so kind. He was so excited to be on the Giants. He was so excited about everything. And I interviewed him, and it was like one of the best days of my life. I was like, I can't believe I just did it. And whatever. So
Wow.
that was a big deal for me. That was my first interview. And then I just continued contacting people, whether they were reporters, athletes, especially during COVID. It's what everybody
Absolutely.
trying to do, and we discovered Zoom and everything. And I really started to get reps in interviewing and everything. And I really enjoyed it. So, I was able to interview some like two Super Bowl champions. I had reporters, different pro athletes, and I was really excited. So I've just been trying to grow that. And I stopped with the music part because I just really want to get a good full-time job in sports and I just want people to see my focus on sports. So that's what I've been doing so far. And I realized people really like to see reels and humor with
Yeah.
their sports. So I tried to start
Absolutely.
doing that, especially with TikTok. I wasn't really high on TikTok as it came out. And then I was like, let me just try it out. And I did. And it does well. Sometimes like I'll get more than I thought in terms of views. And yeah, I really enjoy it.
Yes, definitely, absolutely. Please do stuff that you enjoy. You are very good at TikTok. Like I said, the camera loves you. We're gonna
Thank you.
start calling you Rebel because you are just defying the odds here. Like you are just
Oh,
doing stuff that it's like you know what you only can live life once, and you are living it to the fullest. Right past the barricade, you're like, listen, I need your attention. You're not gonna pay attention to me. Pew, I'm gone. I'm going. I'm going for it. I love
yeah,
it. I love it. And
thank
to have a family that's supportive like that is amazing too. Now, is your sister, because you named everybody as far as in sports, is your sister a sports fan?
Oh yes. She doesn't love, I mean, she doesn't pay attention to it, I think, like I do as in depth. But she's, a big athlete herself. And
Okay.
so she
Okay.
does she definitely, I mean, yeah, like she loves Josh Allen, and like most girls do. But yeah, she got really upset about the Yankees, and so she does pay attention a lot. Yeah, she's really into it.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk about that a little bit later as well. Josh Allen, to me, I came into the season saying I think he's gonna win the MVP. In my opinion.
I said
Because
they were going to win the Super Bowl.
I didn't go that far. I did not. I have to be honest with you. I think my preseason picks for the Super Bowl was going to be Kansas City and Detroit. I thought Detroit. is going to win the Super Bowl from the experience they had last year. They should have beat the 49ers last year, to be honest
Yes,
with you,
I
but they
agree.
didn't. Um, but the reason why I thought the Bills would have a hard time winning the Super Bowl is because of the loss of their two starting receivers. And I didn't know how their running game was going to be, too. And three, defensively, they came into the season a little nicked up and hurt. So I didn't know about the continuity of the defense, how that was going to be. But that's why I thought MVP would be Josh Allen because they're going to really rely on him a lot to be able to generate offense. And Lord have mercy, they're looking pretty good, winning 7 out of 9 games. So you might not be off from a Super Bowl pick. We will definitely see though in a couple of weeks how
Yeah,
they will match up with those Kansas City Chiefs and Buffalo when we get that rematch of the divisional playoffs for sure.
for sure. I mean, yeah, I don't know if they'll make, I would really like to see the Lions win, honestly.
Mm,
They're a really special team, and I thought last year it was really, I really love this 49ers team. But I really thought the Lions were going to win last year. So it was sad. And I think Dan Campbell just loves doing what he's doing. Like he loves being their coach and he loves the
yeah.
team. So I felt so bad for him too. But I just don't see their team never making it to the Super Bowl in terms of guys like Amon Ra or Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, despite the fact that he's hurt and everything, but
Right.
um, I just think they have guys who could be legends someday, and it would be shocking if they never get a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I believe they just picked up a pass rusher. They picked up Sicarius from the Browns to
Oh yes,
yes, they just picked up a pass rusher to kind of, offset what Aiden Hutchinson did. And they needed that for sure. But offensively, they just don't have any weaknesses. Like Golf can get
no,
the ball to Amaran. They can, and if Jamison Williams could just stay his what out of trouble, they can even be more of a juggernaut than
yes.
what they are offensively. But yeah, Lions and Chiefs were my preseason picks, and Allen was my preseason pick to win the MVP for sure. Let's talk about those Yankees though.
Okay.
Tough World Series. Tough World Series. And Judge had a tough World Series. So did Soto. Stanton had an okay World Series. To me, the difference in the series was not so much of them struggling, but it was the lower half of the lineup. Just could not get anything going for those guys to be able to do anything. Um, Garrett Cole also opt back in, which is pretty cool. I'm glad he did. Talk about your Yankees and talk about that World Series and what you see for the future of this team.
Going into the World Series, I actually genuinely didn't see a scenario where they weren't going to win.
Mm,
I had my outfit ready for the parade. Like
oh,
we were making plans. My sister was not going to school that day. My parents were going to take off. Like it, I just really thought it was going to happen. And then when they lost, I was like, there's no way that they're going to win now because they should have won the first game.
oh, no
Based,
question.
yeah. And looking back now, I feel like we can say a lot of things about how the offense did. We could say how they were making silly mistakes. The base running was atrocious. But I also think that some of the coaching is a problem. I was very upset that Cole was taken out in that first game. Like I think they
That
would have
was a
won.
little early, in my opinion. A little early.
And then to top it off with putting Nestor Cortez in when he has not pitched in 37 days, hasn't played a really big chunk of the entire season. Why would you put him in such a dire situation?
Right.
It was really of course we could say disappointing, of course we can say uh you know just really like hard to watch, but it was heartbreaking too because I think a lot of people thought this was it, as we do every year though, but because with the addition of Soto it was just exciting. It was like this is the first year we're really comfortable. Judge is like 2 years into his new contract.
Yep.
Cole still is on his huge contract. We've got Weaver. Weaver came out of nowhere. Like everyone loves Luke Weaver. He was a starter. Now
Well,
he's a reliever. Now he's a closer. He can do everything. And the pitching is just constantly a problem, and it's really, really frustrating to watch. It's just upsetting. I think Verdugo struggled, Glaber struggled. Uh, like the highlight of this season probably was Volpe's grand slam. Like that was awesome, and it was
It
like
was
a
great. That was
storybook,
great to see.
because he's from here, and it's just so exciting. And I wanted to see someone like him, get a ring and everything, which I don't doubt he will eventually, but uh, it was just really, really hard to watch the whole series the way it went.
Yeah, the collapse in game five was tough to see. No question about that. They jumped out on the Dodgers, which they had seen all the Dodgers pitchers.
Mhm.
I understood why they jumped out on them. I'm thinking they're gonna win their last home game. Dodgers may wrap it up in LA in game 6 or 7, but at least win the last New York home game. I'm thinking that that was going to happen, but the collapse in that was shocking. No question about it. Game one strictly had to do with coaching. You hit it on the head. Garrett should have never been pulled, in my opinion. I mean, hindsight, we can obviously see that now. Aaron Boone is making those decisions. I get it, but when you got a guy rolling like that, and he's clearly keeping the Dodgers bats at bay, keep him in the game. Like the game is not away from you. And then you put in a guy who is rusty as hell, like you said, hasn't pitched in 5 weeks and throws a ball to Freddie Freeman, which is in Freddie Freeman's wheelhouse. And what he do? He take it out to the LA candy shops and all the shops out there. He took it way out there and knocked it out of the ballpark. Um, from that point on, I would have never pitched to Freddie again.
No,
If it was an empty base, he would have got walked. Same with Shohei. If there's an empty base, you're getting walked. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to make your other teammates beat us. Um, and it's surprising. The second thing I have to say, it was surprising to see how much Judge struggled. He struggled pretty bad. They wasn't even going away from him. They were pitching to him, and he was striking out. And I just think the pressure of him trying to produce to do that probably got to him a little bit. Um, Soto being his 50-50 on whether he's coming back or not. Me personally, I'm gonna be honest with you, Aaron. I don't think he's back in the Yankees uniform. I don't think
and
so.
I know
I,
I
I
don't
don't
want it to happen because I really like him. I really like who he is as a person. Uh, and I think he brings just like such great morale to the team. Like
know.
we didn't even really necessarily need that. We had a great locker room last year, great clubhouse, and then he came and it was, amazing. And I actually thought it was really interesting because my mom is always paying attention to who blesses themselves before they go on the field and everything. But when we went to the game in August, like Soto was just by himself and he just knelt down for probably 2 minutes and he was praying and then he blessed himself. And my mom was like, oh my gosh, like it was moving to see in person. And then I heard people around us notice it too. And they were like, wow, everything. I was like, yeah, that's what he brings. I mean, Judge is very religious as well. And we always see that. But it was just nice to see. And I don't want him to go. Like, I don't want him to
I don't
go.
think I don't think financially is going to be the problem. I think the Yankees are going to dish out as much money as they possibly can. He's 26 years old, if I'm not mistaken. He's pretty young, and he's not even really entering his prime yet. This guy is going to be very good for years to come. I
Yeah.
just think that there's going to be some other attractive places as well. The Dodgers can possibly offer him some money. There's some other teams that can offer him some money as well. So now it's just going to be about fit. New York's
Yeah.
a great fit. I just think if he was definite about coming back to New York, he would have made it. He would have made it so. He would have said he's gonna obviously take his free agency serious. He's gonna listen to every team, but I honestly just don't think he'll be back in pinstripes. Which I know people don't want to hear that. That might not be that might be a hot take, but I'm just gonna be honest. It's straight up. That's what
I
I'm
think
gonna
it's
do.
realistic. I think
Right.
it's he's so valuable. And I think it's even odd that he's been on multiple teams already because he's so good. And
very
I
good.
don't know. I mean, I saw a really upsetting report where, I mean, this was a while back too, where they said, the Yankees are never going to pay him more than Judge, and that's most likely what he's going to be asking for. But why not just give him a little less than Judge? Like, I don't know. I He's just so good in New York. Like he comes through in big moments. He puts on a show. That's what we want here, and he wants a World Series.
They
So,
got a lot of pieces they're paying on Aaron. Like, they're paying Stanton in his contract. They're paying Judge in his contract. They just gave Cole because Cole opted in back in his contract. I
mhm,
mean, I know the Yankees got a lot of money with that Yes Network, and they generate because they have their own network that they do things with. But at some point, I know it's no salary cap, but geez Louise, you can't be paying all these players and you're not bringing no championships home to New York. At some
right.
point, the payoff, you're going to have to get a ROI, right? Return on investment. So it'll be interesting to see what they do this next upcoming baseball season. One of my bucket list things is to go to Yankee Stadium because I've never been to the new Yankee Stadium before, or the old one. I've never been to Yankee Stadium, period. So I would love to go there in the Bronx. That would be amazing. Before we get to this or that, we definitely got to talk about your Giants.
Okay.
Uh, whew, Lord have mercy. Okay. We know the record is 2-7.
Mhm.
We know that they are going all the way to Germany now to play a game versus the Panthers this week, which are also 2-7, but they're coming off an upset win. Well, I don't even know if I want to call it upset because the Saints are 2-7 and they just beat the Saints.
Yeah.
Talk to me about what the hell is going on with your New York Giants because it don't seem like there's a whole lot of good going on. But make me an optimist about your team, please.
Okay.
How
Difficult. Um, let's see.
you doing that? Hey,
I think Neighbors is a big positive. Um,
okay.
Despite any mistakes he made on Sunday.
Hmm.
I I love Brian Burns. I love Thibodeau. I think the defense is definitely a positive from this year.
Okay.
Dexter Lawrence, I have no doubt will
Oh,
be a Hall
he's
of Famer.
definitely a positive, no question.
Oh gosh. And I feel bad. Like he makes me sad because I feel bad that he is not having the success he deserves. He works so tirelessly hard, and it just shows on the field because it's almost like he's the only one doing anything.
Whew.
I mean, this poor fella has the Giants logo tattooed on his body. Like I think he really likes being here, and I think he sees potential in the future. It's just so hard to see when that success is going to come. I
Man,
think
it's hard.
there was a really, really, really bad taste in everybody's mouths when we came into the season because everyone was ticked off at the front office for not signing Saquon. I mean, that's inevitable. But I was upset because I wasn't mad at Saquon for going to Philly.
Sure.
I just don't think that's really that logical. I know a lot of people are treating him so poorly. I mean, he was booed so loudly when the Eagles came here. How can you do that? I mean, you need to respect yourself. And if you're not being valued by your team, when you know that you are a future Hall of Fame running back, then you need to go elsewhere. They were not valuing him, they were not respecting him.
No,
And
there was not.
like, I just, if I ever meet him in person, I would love to apologize to him on behalf because I think he loved being here. I think he loved being a Giant and living in New Jersey and everything. And it was just a really sad time. So I think I don't see any changes happening in the front office. Um, yeah.
Really? Really? Oh, so okay. So correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm gonna give it back to you in a minute. I think John Mara needs to definitely make some changes. Now
I agree.
we know Brian Dable can coach. We do know that he just won Coach of the Year a couple seasons ago.
Yeah.
We know he can coach, but the general manager has failed this team. Now, getting Brian Burns, the defense, and Thibodeau have your pass rushers. That's nice. Have Dexter Lawrence inside is nice too. You do have a defense that is somewhat good. They're
Yeah.
showing promise. The problem is the quarterback. the quarterback is getting paid $160 million, which is the average of 40 million per year. They did not want to give that money to Barkley. That's the number one issue that I had with the Giants. You cannot not pay that man. And now you see what Barkley's doing over in Philadelphia. He's the MVP candidate. Jones has been some timing. He's been okay at some, and he's been really bad a lot. It's no question that they definitely probably will move on from Daniel Jones after this season. I'm
Mm-hmm.
almost certain. I mean, that's Stevie Wonder can see that. Okay. However, I need you to tell me if they're gonna move on from Jones, what quarterback should they get? Should they wait and try to draft one in the draft? Should they go get one out maybe in free agency? Justin Fields could be somebody who could. I don't know if the Steelers will let him go, but possibly. Why not? I mean, he definitely wants to start and play. I know this price month Joe Flacco. I know he's a band aid. I mean, he ain't nobody for the future, but what quarterback do you see replacing Joe?
I would really welcome Justin Fields, more than anything. I at first expected them to take Ewers in the draft. Now I'm not sure, just because Texas is kind of being a little inconsistent. Like they're sort of relying on Arch Manning a little bit.
I would
Um,
take Sanders over yours. I would take Sanders to do it.
oh, me too. I
Yeah.
mean, anybody, because I mean,
Okay.
I also, that's a really great point because just him, I think there's been moments where he's been a typical, I guess, college kid, but I also think he has a level of maturity where he would really be a great fit in New York because not
He
everyone can.
would.
And that's something that I've always praised Daniel Jones on. Outside the like off the field, he really handles the media and living around here very well for not being from here. Um, and I think that's why we all like really loved seeing Tommy DeVito because nothing phased him at all. But he's also from here, and it was expected. Like I feel bad for guys who come from the South or the Midwest, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, like what am I doing?" So I think Sanders would be able to handle it. So if you can handle all the off-field stuff, you're gonna be fine on the field because like Daniel Jones, he's a very nice guy. He's a very nice guy, but it's been a waste of money.
He's a very nice guy. The
Very
way you
nice.
said that, I love that. I love that, Aaron. Oh
And
my
he
God.
shops a lot at one of my favorite stores locally in Rutherford. And I love that he goes there. But
Hmm.
it's just like he finally, this is probably the best O-line that he's had in a long time. And there's still inconsistencies. It's just not, this is not the future. And it never was. Like when they drafted him, I was like, all right, fine. But there were there were so many other options. And I know there's rumors floating around that they're going to be like, oh, maybe we will get someone older like Flacco or just anybody. I mean, I don't know
At
what
this
Jameis
point, Giants
Winston.
fans want anybody on their team, anybody but
It's
Jones.
funny. I don't know what Jameis Winston's contract is like, but I would be happy to have him even.
Oh
Uh,
Lord. Oh my God. Just saying something because he played like it's sugar honey iced tea. And you know the acronym on that. You know the acronym on that. He played so bad. So awful this past week.
but we need a little change. We really do. It was never gonna work ever. And people really clung to the fact that he was like a Eli clone, but he's not Eli, and
No.
it's just not working.
The glory days of those giant football teams that have long gone. No question about that. I definitely want to get your perspective on that because I do think that they do have some bright spots. I do like Dable, but the general managers, you got to give them something. I mean, Neighbors is good. Tracy could be a good running back, but
Hmm.
Devin Singletary, you gave him 3 million. Like that's 3 million wasted. Like, what are you doing? Like, I don't understand some of the moves that they're doing, and then I do understand some of the moves they're doing. It's like every time they hit a home run, they pop up a foul ball and then get caught, and they have to go back to the bench. Like you don't even put it in play. It's a foul ball. So it's like, yeah. I don't know what you're doing, Giants, but you are on your way from being the top three pick because I honestly think the Panthers have a chance to to win this game in Germany this week. I really do. I
That
think they
wouldn't
got,
be.
and that's saying a lot because Bryce Young to the Giants can also happen too. I
Yeah.
think so.
Yep. And I feel like
Um,
the Panthers did fail him a little bit. I mean, I don't
no
think there was
question.
anything wrong with him learning from an older quarterback. Like a Favre Rodgers situation, Bledsoe Brady situation. There's nothing wrong.
Alex Smith and Mahomes. Look how
Yeah,
Mahomes turned out. He did not play his first year. Alex Smith did. People forget that. Mahomes came on MVP.
we
Come
look
on.
at the greatest quarterbacks. They
Yeah.
all did not start immediately.
Right.
A
Some of
lot
them
of them,
didn't.
but
Absolutely.
there's nothing wrong with that. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, I could see the Panthers winning, and
Are
that
you
makes.
a screamer, or do you scream at the TV when you watching the game, or are you very quiet?
I am very quiet. My dad yells, but I'm pretty quiet. Sometimes I will.
Okay.
I'll have to be honest. I'm like numb by now, so I'm just like, But I probably yell at the Yankees a little bit more, but I'm not very loud.
Okay, I like that. Well, listen, now we've came to the portion of the podcast episode where now we're on this or that. It's an interactive game that I like to play with my guests on here, and pretty much I throw things out there, and you get to choose this or that. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Now we've been vibing all podcast episode long, Aaron, you and me. Okay, it's been a pleasure. This first question is very important. Which
Okay,
place are you eating at? Popeyes or KFC?
Popeyes.
That's what I'm talking about, girl. We damn it, we are good right now. I love it. I love it right now. Okay, here we go. Do chicken wing flavors, barbecue or lemon pepper?
Lemon pepper.
Okay. Do you like your wings wet or dry?
Wet.
Do you like your wings bone in or boneless?
Bone in.
So you like to get a little messy, huh? Okay, okay. Have some wet wipes on the side. Wipe your mouth. I
Yeah.
love it. I love that. Okay, that's what wings is all about. No judgment here. I love that. Okay. Rangers or Islanders?
Rangers.
Okay. Knicks or Nets?
Knicks.
Okay. Which player would you rather, if you had to make a play to win a game, which player would you rather depend on? Lawrence Taylor or Eli Manning?
Oh my gosh. Um. Oh God. Oh my gosh.
I didn't say this was going to be easy now.
Oh my gosh. To win the game.
Win the game.
I feel like my dad's gonna get mad at me with my answer. I mean, I want to say LT, but I never watched LT play. So in my
Mm.
lifetime, I've seen Eli do that more than, hundreds of times. Eli.
Okay, that's okay. Listen, that was a tough question. I'll give you that. Okay. Now, LT is the only person in the history of the game that won MVP, I believe, recently on the defensive side of the ball. I don't think anybody else has won MVP since LT, and that was over 38 years ago that he won that for sure. But listen, Eli has two championships by beating Tom Brady.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody has had that in their career as well, beating Tom Brady twice.
I
Okay,
know.
here we go. Which player would you rather choose? Okay, as far as if they got to make a hit to win the game, would you rather choose Derek Jeter or would you rather choose Aaron Judge?
Jeter.
Oh, come on now. That was a layup. El Capitan, you got to choose him. There's
I
no
know.
question. No question. Derek
I
Jeter.
know.
Okay. Okay. If you had a sport that if you had a sport that you could play and you knew you would dominate in, what would that sport be?
Ooh. I think golf.
Wow, you would dominate in golf.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. I love.
Okay. I like that. I really do. Now, which sport would you play that you absolutely suck in?
Um, What would I play that I would suck at?
Yeah, like if there was a sport you play, you like, I'm not very good.
Let's go with something like squash.
What the hell, Aaron? Squash.
That's not really like an important sport, you know?
I don't
I
even know what that is. A squash is a vegetable. That's what I know. What are you talking
you like whack
about?
a ball. But you know what? I'll go with pickleball because I'm not great at it, but it's fun.
Okay, I feel you on that. Okay. These next three have to do with music concerts you rather attend. Okay, so here we go. Which music concert would you rather go to? Kendrick Lamar or Drake?
Drake.
Okay, I like that. Which music concert would you rather go to? And your parents would probably like this one. Kiss or Journey?
Oh shoot. Oh my gosh. Um, oh my gosh. I'm like being so realistic about this because
That's okay.
I
Listen, I don't want you telling no lies now. Don't be telling no
no,
lies on the podcast now.
I don't know if I would want to see Journey without Steve Perry as the lead singer. So
That
maybe
makes
I'll go
sense.
with Kiss.
Okay. I
Yeah.
like that. I do. I do. Which concert would you rather go to? Would you rather see Luke Combs or Casey Musgraves?
Luke Combs.
Okay, I like that. I
I've
do.
seen
Now, do you?
Casey Musgraves, but I
Oh,
feel
you?
like
Okay.
she opened for Harry Styles in 2018 and it was great.
Mm,
But I think Luke Combs would be more fun.
okay, I'm with you on that. Huge Luke Combs fan. I love Luke Combs.
Yeah.
Do you like desserts?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw four categories out. You have to choose one of these you'll never eat again. Okay,
Okay.
here we go. First one is ice cream. The second one is cake. The third one is cookies. The last one is candy. Which one are you getting rid of that you'll never eat again?
Probably ice cream because I'm lactose intolerant.
I can understand that. I understand. Okay, I feel you on that. I can't get rid of that, but I would get rid of candy. I can't get rid of cake because red velvet cake is the best cake ever made. No question about it. Love me some red velvet. Do you like potato chips?
Yes.
Okay, same format. I'm gonna throw four brands at you. You have to get rid of one of these. Okay,
Okay.
here we go. First one is Lay's. The second one is Doritos. The third one is Ruffles. The last one is Pringles. Which one are you getting rid of that you would never eat again?
Doritos.
What the heck? I know you did not just. Did you just say Doritos? Oh Lord! Oh no, Aaron! What's going on? Doritos? Ah,
Never been a big Dorito person.
I
I love
understand.
Ruffles.
Okay,
I
well, you
love
back in my good
Pringles.
graces. You back in my good graces because you said you love Ruffles. So, but
Okay, good.
I would have got rid of Lay's for sure. Are you salt and vinegar? Are you salt and vinegar person?
I'll eat it. It's not my first choice, but I'll eat it.
Yeah, it ain't my first, second, third, fifth, and 895th choice. It ain't my that. It just ain't. I mean, those are the second worst chips ever made, in my opinion. The first is Funyuns. Whoever likes Funyuns out there in the world, God bless your heart. That's all I can tell you, because they horrible.
My dad thinks it's wrong. It's like a knockoff of onion rings.
It is, and I agree with Mr. Mulligan. He, we stand united on that because they are terrible. No question. The next question though, you did pretty good on this for that, by the way.
Good.
The next question I have for you is a top four.
Okay.
And the top four is what is a top four events or things you would like to cover? For me, I'll give you just an example. So, Olympics is one, especially in 2028, with it being in my hometown state of Los Angeles. Um, a national championship game that could be either college basketball or football. Super Bowl, which would be amazing, and the NBA Finals. Those are
Okay.
like a top four events for me that I would love to be covering. I love that. Now, what would a top four events for you look like?
One would be Super Bowl, two World Series, three Olympics, four the Masters,
Oh
and
yeah.
five. Maybe I'll say the college football championship.
I love the Masters pick. I really do. I've been to the Masters. It's such an amazing. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. I went there as a spectator. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely in Augusta. I mean, obviously, I was about 8 hours down the road because I went to college in Kennesaw, Georgia. It was in nearly like 20 miles from Atlanta, Georgia. So I was in Georgia for some time. My family, my mom, uncle, and aunt still lived there. So yeah, I've been to the Masters twice. So definitely quite the experience to go there and watch people do what they love to do.
Oh my gosh, what a dream. Me and my friend Sydney, we have a podcast together, and we're like we're the only she's my only friend who likes golf. So she's the only person I can like talk about it with, but we want to go so bad. Oh my
Put
gosh.
that on the bucket list. One
Yeah.
of the things on my bucket list for sure is going to a Ryder Cup or a President's Cup. I want to go to one of those events.
That'd be
Whenever they do have it here in the U.S., I'm going to definitely make it happen for sure. Who's your favorite golfer?
oh, it's so typical, but Scotty. Scotty. It was
Mm,
always Rory
Definitely.
McIlroy.
Hmm.
Um, that's also tied to One Direction because I fell in love with golf because Niall Horan from One Direction, he loves golf and he caddied for Rory during the par four contest once. So I started watching it just to see Niall. And then I noticed that I wasn't really looking for Niall anymore and I was enjoying watching it. So then I got really into it and I played a little bit in high school and I love it. I just love it. But I love Jordan Spieth too. I like those two. And of
Yeah,
course
I'm.
Tiger, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But Tiger's probably my all time. I think the golfer that I enjoy watching is Bryson DeChambeau. I do enjoy watching him. He can hit the ball pretty far, right off the
That's
tee.
because he'll put his balls in like salt water.
He
Have you ever
would.
seen that?
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh. And it
yeah.
just makes sense. Oh my gosh. I
So
was really happy for him when he had this past season because he did pretty well and um yeah, he's pretty easy to root for.
he is, and I also like Scheffler as well. I like Scotty as well. I thought that was a crazy. Remember? Do you remember the crazy video when he got arrested? When he got arrested on that? That was wild. I was like, "Whoa, what is going on?" I mean,
I saw
go ahead.
yeah. No, yeah, I saw it on my phone. I was like, maybe they have the wrong person because of all people, he's like so unproblematic. He's always
Mhm.
talking about how blessed he is and everything. He just minds his own business. And then I was like, oh my gosh, he's in handcuffs. It was
Right. Took his mugshot and everything. And I was like, my man got arrested going to the event. Then he gets mugshot, it gets taken, then bails out, comes back to the event. That was crazy. I've never seen nothing like that. That was just wild.
what like who would have thought he'd get an Olympic gold medal and be arrested in 1 year?
Right. Hello. That's so crazy. That's what's up. I like that though. What is some advice that someone has gave you that you hold on dearly to?
Probably. Well, my dad just doesn't care what anybody thinks of him. So he always has said that to my sister and I. And I think it's harder to actually act upon that when you're younger and a girl, because girls are so mean and petty and honestly, I feel like girls get intimidated by each other for really no reason sometimes, and that's what brings the mean spirits out of a person. And so I think as I've gotten older, I just started to not really care at all because once I started not caring a little bit, and I would like post a silly thing online and then it ended up getting a lot of views. I'm like, oh, people like that. Maybe it's relatable. And I'm like, yeah, I enjoyed making it. People are enjoying watching it. Why do I care what anybody's thinking? So my dad always said, like, just stop caring what people think. Um, and just just do what you want to do because he said once, he was like, go and make sure, what did he say? Wait, he said, he was like, he was like, dress for the job. Wait, no, he said something about coffee.
Right. Okay.
He was like, become the person in the job
Right.
you want, ordering the coffee. Okay, like you might start out taking the coffee orders and everything, but
Okay.
eventually stop caring what people are thinking because then you will become the person ordering the coffee and something like that. And he always is like, who cares? Literally, who cares? Why do you care if they're talking about you? Like it has no effect on your life. It really doesn't. And so I'd probably say that. And then also my mom, like she's the most positive person I know and literally finds a positive out of every single situation. It could be like a horrible thing going on. And she's like, yeah,
Yeah.
but this wouldn't have happened if that hadn't happened. So
Sure.
I'd say, yeah, not caring and just really finding positivity in everything because if you don't, you just are living a sad life and there's just no purpose in being negative all the time.
Yeah. That those are some great lines, great advice. I don't think I've ever
I
heard.
botched it a little bit.
I don't think I've ever heard of ordering the coffee like that before. But but the meaning behind it is definitely something that I can appreciate. I know one of the great lines that I've heard is it's hard to pay attention to the road when you're looking at somebody else.
Yeah.
And I was like, at first, it kind of registered. It was like, yeah, you have to focus on your own lane, your own speeds, and what you're doing. If you're always paying attention to somebody else on the road, then you're going to stumble and crash, and you're going to not be paying attention to what you need to do.
Yeah.
Everybody's path is their own path in their own journey. And your dad is 1000% right, right? It's not to the fact of, okay, you pay attention to what people say, but you don't let it affect you. And I think that's what your dad is trying to definitely advocate to you is that you got to be able to do your own thing and do it with confidence and do it with love. Because there's a lot of people in the world that wake up to do jobs that they don't want to do. And it's unfortunate, but that is reality. And I
Yeah.
love doing it. I love podcasting. I love writing articles. I love covering games. I love writing feature stories. And I love being a freelance because it gives me the power to choose what I want to do instead of being in a publication where I was before.
Right.
So talking to wonderful people like yourself is a great segue to this next question because I want to know what kind of job are you seeking? What are you looking? Are you looking to work with a team? Are you looking to work in a publication? Are you looking to work in a station as a reporter? What kind of job are you looking for in this sports industry world?
Um, it's really changed. Like I used to be really specific and want to be a sideline reporter in the NFL, which is
Mm-hmm.
obviously very difficult to, make come true. But um, I really just want to be in a position, either for a network like NBC Sports or something, where I'm telling someone's story or interviewing them. And
Sure.
I would love to be a producer too. I loved producing shows in college, and I loved formulating topics and just coming up with the concept for a program or a production. So I'd love to be a producer. I mean, I like at the bottom of the bottom, I don't care. I just want to learn and just somehow just tell really inspiring stories. Like my dream is to tell these stories on a really large scale, like on TV or something. Because
Mm-hmm.
I love the Josh Allen stories, like how he got to the NFL. So,
Yep.
unorthodox. Same with
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers. Same with Josh Jacobs. They have these really inspiring stories that kids need to hear. I really want to make sure that kids hear those stories, and I would like to tell them because I think a lot of little kids are either like I just feel like they get caught like their parents get caught up
Yeah.
in their kids not being the best of the best, and then that it really affects the kid. But if a kid sees, like a little boy sees how Josh Allen emailed all those coaches and he was a really good quarterback, but he wasn't getting attention, that gives them
Right.
hope. So I really just want to tell stories like that on a grand scale,
I
basically.
can certainly see you doing that. I would definitely, if you haven't already, now that basketball season's coming up and there's going to be more basketball games, there's going to be a bunch of reporters that's going to be covering New York teams and New York games, especially on the pro level, on the collegiate level. I would say, hey, reach out to them, shadow them, see what's
Yeah.
good. Oh,
I would
NBC
love
Sports is a hub, is probably a hub there in New York.
yeah.
I would say, or close to New York where you are in New Jersey. I'm not sure how far where you're at New York is, but can't be that far if you go into games. I would think probably maybe hour and a half, maybe tops, or shorter than that.
Yeah.
Um, I would just say, yeah, definitely do that because I can definitely see you on TV.
Thank you.
You got a passion for that, and you definitely love doing this, and this is what you're calling it. So I would definitely encourage you if you haven't done already, yeah, reach out. I cold emailed you, and I wanted to do that because I love talking to people like yourself. So, and I do that with a lot of different people that I have on this platform on my Work Hard, Play Hard podcast. So, um, we are getting to the very end though. Well, and there's another couple of things that I want to talk to you about. You say you had a podcast with your friend Sydney. What
Yes.
is that podcast about? What is the name of that podcast?
Oh, wait, sorry. I thought my mom was texting me. Um, it is called Time Out with Sydney and Erin. And Sydney and I actually met in a virtual boot camp with Laura Oakman from
Yes.
Fox Sports.
Yep.
And there were hundreds of girls on this Zoom call because it was COVID. And she
She
reached
does
out
a
to a lot of
galvanize. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. She does a galvanize kind of conference thing, is what she does. Laura
yes,
Oak.
yes. No, thank you. I forgot to name it. And it was just so inspiring, like the whole session. So Sydney reached out because she was starting a kind of like a YouTube show, but kind of like a live scenario type thing where everyone would go on a Zoom call and then she records it and she interviewed people in sports industry. So I was like, yeah, okay. And then I just kept going and going and going to every single session she had. And then over time, we just realized that we had, some things in common. And uh, I started helping her out a little bit. And so that show is called The Collaborative, and she's created a whole brand for it now and became an LLC recently. And so really exciting for her. So then she was like, do you want to start a podcast? Because we both love entertainment and sports. And this was kind of an outlet where we could do that because we're kind of reality TV junkies. And obviously, she works in sports as well. So we just talk about both things and we love it. So she's down in Atlanta and I'm here in Jersey. So people get a little bit of both. Um,
Absolutely. Best of both worlds.
yeah, Southerner and a Yankee and talking about like two topics that we love. And it's really great.
How often do you do that podcast?
Once a month right now.
Once a month. Okay, so yeah, where should people check that out at as well?
So we're on uh, anywhere you can get your podcast. So Spotify, Apple.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's
Okay, I like that. Now, this last question I have for you is going to be rapid fire. Now,
okay.
the things I'm just going to throw at you, the first thing that comes to your mind, you go ahead and you let me know what it is, okay?
Okay.
So here we go. Burgers or tacos?
Burgers,
Chicken or ribs?
ribs,
Pancakes or waffles?
waffles.
Okay. If you had three people you could take on a trip anywhere in the world to go, where would you go and who would go with you?
Celebrities or not celebrities?
It could be anybody.
I'd probably choose my parents and my sister. And we would
Okay.
go, I'd say probably to Europe. We'd go to like England, Ireland, Germany to do like a genealogy type trip. And then wherever else. My sister loves France. And then we would like take a flight to the Bahamas or Turks and Caicos because my dad really wants to go there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm with him on that. Okay. Spades or dominoes?
I don't think I've ever played spades.
Oh my gosh. Aaron, we're gonna have to flip that. We're gonna have to flip that. Have you played dominoes?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll
so
choose.
dominoes. Dominoes by default. Okay. Favorite card game?
Ooh. Oh, slapjack.
What?
Slapjack. I know it's like barely a card game, but
Oh,
you
okay. What is that? Explain what slapjack is.
you divide the deck of cards in half and you just play with
Mhm.
one other person. And actually you can play with multiple people, but it has to, be evenly divided all the cards. And then you each put a card down. You go one, two, three, put a card down. Every time the jack comes up, you have to slap it. and then whoever slaps it gets all the cards that have been put down already, and then who has the most cards wins. But
Okay, I'm
besides
about to
that,
think.
I like war too.
Okay, slapjack and war. I got you on that. Okay, if you had a choice to listen to three songs, could be any songs ever, that you'll never get tired of listening to, they could be on repeat. What would those three songs be?
Oh my goodness. Um, Best song ever, One Direction.
Okay, what song?
The best song ever. It's called Best Song
Oh,
Ever.
the best. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm okay. Best song ever. That's the title. You're right. Okay, go ahead.
Um, Maybe I'll do Man, I Feel Like a Woman, Shania Twain.
That's different. Okay.
I don't really get sick of that song. And then probably Chunky by Bruno Mars.
Okay. If they told you, Erin, you have to choose one of these to do for the rest of your career, which one would you choose? Would you be a producer? Would you be a podcaster? Or would you be a reporter? Which one would you choose out of those three?
Reporter.
I like it. I do. I do. Is there anything else you would like to add about yourself before we conclude? It's been a pretty dope conversation, Erin.
I know, it's been fun. I don't think so. I mean, I produced another podcast called Chalk Chat, and that's my mom and her friend uh do that, and it's really, really funny. So I highly suggest people go check it out. Um, no, I don't think so. Just someone from New Jersey who loves New Jersey and sports, and yeah, I guess that's it.
I love that. And I love that you came on my podcast today. I love learning more about you, being from New Jersey, being a Monmouth University alum now, being able to produce podcasts, but also have podcasts as well, talking a little bit of New York Giants and New York Yankees. Now we know you're a Rangers fan as well. So you are with the Rangers instead of the Islanders. I like that. And you are with the Knicks instead of the Nets, which I like that too. So I just want you to continue doing wonderful things, and I want you to continue on with your podcast. And I'm a new fan of yours, so
Thank you.
please don't be a stranger, and we will definitely be in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on.
No doubt. You take care, Aaron.
Bye.